We are going to start with the wall of thorax and whatever important points are required here. So first of all, there are many extrinsic muscles of the wall of thorax, and those are the pectoralis major in the upper limb, then pectoralis minor, serratus anterior, then we have rectus abdominis and external oblique in the abdomen, and in the back we have trapezius and latissimus dorsi. Then we have the levator scapulae and rhomboideus major and rhomboideus minor, and then we have serratus posterior superior and posterior inferior. Next we have the erector spinae. The intrinsic muscles of the wall of thorax are the external intercostal muscles, the internal intercostal muscles, and the transverse thoracis, which again comprises of three muscles, which are the subcostalis, intercostalis, intimi or the innermost intercostal, and the sternocostalis. Now let us see the extensions and the origin and the insertion. So the origin of intrinsic muscles occur at the lower border of the rib above. Okay, so the rib, okay, we have the lower border of the rib, the origin occurs, and the insertion occurs in the outer lip of the upper border of the rib below. This is the rib below, and we know that the upper border has two lips, the outer lip and the inner lip. It gets inserted in the outer lip, so this is the most superficial muscle in the intercostal space. Next, what is the extent? Its extent is from the tubercle of the rib posteriorly to the costochondral junction anteriorly. Okay, so we have the costochondral junction where the costal cartilage joins with the sternum. So it starts from the tubercle of the rib, from posterior part, to the costochondral junction. Now between the costochondral junction and the sternum, we do not have the muscle, we have the external or anterior intercostal membrane. So in front, let us see, we have this external or anterior intercostal membrane, right? Next is posterior end of the muscle is continuous with posterior fibers of superior costotransverse ligament. Okay, so the posterior end is continuous with the posterior fibers of superior costotransverse ligament. Now what are the direction of the fibers? You have to see, it is when we put our hands in the pocket, it's like this: downwards, forwards, and medially. Downwards, forwards, and medially. Okay, so and if we go back and see it like that, we'll see that it will go like downwards and laterally. We have the same side, but we are just going back, so it becomes laterally. Now we come on to, okay, that was those were the 11 pairs of external intercostal muscles, obviously, because those are present in the intercostal spaces. Next we have the internal intercostal muscles. Those are 11 pairs. Now again, okay, so these originate from the floor of the costal groove of the rib above. So we have the costal rib in the below part of this rib. So from there it gets inserted to the inner lip of the upper border of the rib below. So here we have the outer lip and the inner lip, so it gets inserted in the inner lip, and therefore it becomes the layer beneath the external intercostal muscles. Now lateral border of the sternum to angle of rib, its extent is from there, and then it becomes continuous with the internal posterior intercostal membrane. So it has actually its extent is from the lateral border of the sternum and till the angle of the rib. Okay, and then it becomes continuous with the internal or posterior intercostal membrane, and it is also continuous with the anterior fibers of superior costotransverse ligament. This was with the posterior fibers, and this is with the anterior fibers. All right, its direction is downwards, backwards, and laterally, just 90 degree to this. So it will be downwards, backwards, and laterally. Next we have the transverse thoracis. Now the first muscle present here is the subcostalis. the subcostalis is present where? Inner surface of the rib near the angle, and it gets inserted in the inner surface of 2 to 3 ribs below. So the direction of the fibers are the same as that of the internal intercostal muscles, and these get inserted originated from the inner surface of the ribs near the angle, and get inserted 2 to 3 ribs below, okay, posterior parts of the lower intercostal spaces. Next you have the intercostalis intimi, which is the innermost intercostals, which are also 11 pairs. Now they originate from the middle 2/3 of the ridge above the costal groove. So we have the costal groove, just middle 2/4 of the ridge above costal groove is the origin of intercostalis intimi, and it gets inserted in the inner lip of the upper border of the rib where the internal intercostal muscles get inserted. So it forms the third layer of muscles, okay. Next we have the sternocostalis. Okay, so this part is we need to know that it is present in only the upper intercostal spaces except the first space. Alright, now the origin, let us see the origin from here. The origin is from the lower 1/3 of the sternum, okay. Next is the xiphoid process. The costal cartilages of 3 or 4 ribs, which are lower true ribs, okay. So 7, 6, 5, or maybe 7, 6, or maybe 6, 5, right? And it gets inserted in the costal cartilages of this 2 to 6th ribs. So the origin is from the lower 1/3 of the sternum, the xiphoid process, and the costal cartilages of the lower 3 to 4 ribs. It can be 4 also, like here till here also, and it gets inserted to 2nd to 6th ribs. So these are the muscles, intrinsic muscles. Now we come on to the intercostal nerves. Now we have the spinal nerves of the thoracic vertebrae. Now there are 12 nerves. We can see that T1 and T2, they supply the intercostal spaces along with the upper limb. T3, T4, T5 and T6, they supply only the thoracic wall, and then T7, T8, T9, T10 and T11, they also supply the abdominal wall along with the thoracic wall. So the first two, they supply the upper limb. The 3 to 6, they supply only the thoracic wall. Therefore these are called the typical intercostal nerves, and these from 7 to 11 supply both. So these are thoraco-abdominal nerves. And the last one, T12, does not supply the thorax, just the abdomen and the skin of the buttocks. This is the subcostal nerve. Now we can see that we have the skin, outermost skin, right? Next we have the superficial fascia. Then we have the external intercostal muscles, the internal intercostal muscles, and then we have the innermost intercostal muscles, or the intercostalis intimi. These are the 2 ribs, okay. Next from here, the contents, we have the endothoracic fascia, and then we have the parietal pleura. Now here we have been given three things: the intercostal nerve and the internal intercostal vessels. So first is the vein, then artery, and then nerve, okay. So these are the components. Now let us see. The intercostal muscles are present, 2 anterior intercostal veins, 1 posterior intercostal vein, 2 anterior intercostal arteries, 1 posterior intercostal artery, T1 to T11 intercostal nerves. Now we come on here. These are the muscles present, and these are the branches. So if we see from here, first of all, we have the external intercostal muscle, which extends as the anterior or external intercostal membrane. Then we have the internal intercostal muscle, which goes back as the posterior intercostal membrane. And this part is the transversus thoracis, and this part is what? This part is your intercostalis intimi. So these are the muscles present. Now let us see the nerves. So first of all, the thoracic nerves, they at this level divide into the anterior and the posterior primary ramus. Now from here it descends down, comes down and comes here. Okay, first of all it gives out the lateral cutaneous branch. From there it goes along the same level and then divides into the anterior and posterior divisions. Okay, next we have this part, it turns here. What is this? This is the anterior cutaneous branch. See, we can see that it pierces the internal intercostal muscles. Then we have the anterior or the external external intercostal membrane and comes down here. It is in front of the sternocostalis, and also we have here the artery. The artery is what? Internal thoracic artery, right? We have the sternocostalis here. Okay. Now this intercostal nerve, its extension at the posterior part is between the, what is this? Parietal pleura. What is this? The posterior intercostal membrane. So it is between this. Then maximum part is between the intercostalis intimi and the internal intercostal muscle. And okay, that is all right. This lateral cutaneous nerve, it goes from here, it pierces the internal intercostal muscle and external intercostal muscle, and then it divides. Okay, here the anterior cutaneous branch divides into two parts. Number one is the medial branch and number two is the lateral branch. Okay, so that was it. Okay, so this is all. This is all. Now we have the branches. Now the muscular branches of this nerve supply the external intercostal muscles, the internal intercostal muscles, the innermost intercostal muscles, and the serratus posterior superior. Next is the cutaneous branches. Number one, we have the collateral branches. Now the collateral branches, they supply the periosteum of the rib, the parietal pleura, the parietal peritoneum and intercostal muscles. So I forgot to say about this. This was the collateral branch. It starts from actually the angle of rib and goes down. Okay, it goes down. Okay, so that was it. Next, this was the cutaneous branch, and next cutaneous branch is the lateral cutaneous branch, which I have already told, the posterior and anterior divisions, and pierces the muscles of the lateral thoracic wall and supplies the skin on the lateral thoracic wall. Then anterior cutaneous branch has two branches again. It reaches near the sternum in front of the sternocostalis and internal thoracic artery, pierces the internal intercostal muscles and anterior intercostal membrane, and then divides, and it also pierces the pectoralis major, supplies the skin in front of the thoracic wall. The lateral cutaneous branch gives communicating branches also. Now we come on to, these were actually the qualities of the typical nerves, but what about the atypical nerves? So we have what are the atypical nerves? We have 1, 2, and from then next is your 7 to 11. Okay, so the first intercostal nerve, what is the difference? First of all, the greater part joins with the C8 and forms the brachial plexus, and the smaller part, which is actually present here, doesn't have the anterior and lateral cutaneous branches. Okay, the second intercostal nerve, here what happens, the lateral cutaneous branch is also called the intercostobrachial nerve. Okay, intercostobrachial nerve. It crosses the axilla and joins the medial cutaneous nerve of the arm. So what does it do? It supplies the skin of the floor of the axilla and upper part of the medial side of the arm. So it does a very good job. It goes and joins with the medial cutaneous nerve of the arm, and it supplies to the skin of the floor of the axilla as well as the upper part of the medial side of the arm. Now there is a disease that is known as coronary arterial disease. Cardiac pain is referred along this nerve to medial side of the arm. If this nerve is not working, then there is cardiac pain. Okay, and it refers to the medial side of the arm. What is this nerve? It is the intercostobrachial nerve. Okay, next we have the 7th to 11th nerves. Those are also called as the thoracoabdominal. These supply the intercostal muscles. They also supply the anterior abdominal walls, external oblique, internal oblique, transversus abdominis and rectus abdominis, skin, and the parietal peritoneum. Now we come on to the clinical problems, issues. Number 1, the root pain or the girdle pain. Irritation of the intercostal nerves due to thoracic vertebra diseases. So severe pain occurs around the trunk. Cutaneous distribution is effect of the affected nerve. What happens actually? If there is irritation of the intercostal nerves due to the thoracic vertebrae diseases, if there are any kind of thoracic vertebrae diseases, then obviously these will feel the irritation, and what will happen? It will cause severe pain around the trunk and due to the cutaneous distribution of the affected nerve. Next we have the sites of eruption of cold abscess on the body wall. First of all, let us see the extent. We have seen the muscle, the nerves. So this part is it is lateral to the erector spinae, which is present at the back. This is the medial mid axillary line. This part is the lateral to sternum. Is it alright? Now, if a pus is formed due to tuberculosis, it may track along the neurovascular plane. This is called Pott's disease of space and may point at 3 sites. What are these 3 sites? It is lateral to erector spinae, mid-axillary line, and your lateral to sacrum. And these may cause many complications. Next, herpes zoster or shingles. Thoracic spinal ganglia, cutaneous vesicles appear in the dermatomal area of distribution of intercostal nerves. The intercostal nerve block. If we want to give local anesthesia in one or more intercostal spaces, injecting anesthetic agents around nerve trunk near its origin, lateral to vertebra, needs to occur. Now, thoracotomy. Conventional thoracotomy or posterolateral performed along the 6th rib. The neurovascular bundle is protected from injury by lifting the peritoneum of the rib. What did it do? In conventional thoracotomy or the posterolateral thoracotomy performed along the 6th rib. 6th rib, this is important. Okay. The neurovascular bundle is protected from injury by lifting the periosteum of your rib. So conventional thoracotomy performed along the 6th rib. The neurovascular bundle is protected from injury by lifting the periosteum of the rib. Now if we need to insert a needle above, we have to insert it above the upper border of the rib below. The rib below the upper border, it has to be inserted there. Thank you.